How do humans reduce the amount of resources they need? The key ideas for this lesson are the three graphics on the screen: reduce, reuse, recycle. Click on Do the Remember slide. What's it made of and can it be recycled? We only have one planet and we have limited amounts of raw materials. To process those, to extract them, to transport them, and even to dispose of them normally requires energy, and that energy normally comes from the limited amount of fossil fuels that we have on this planet. The raw materials we need often comes from quarrying or mining, both of which have large environmental impacts. The impacts can include noise, dust, visual pollution, destruction of the water table, and destruction of habitat. In the previous lesson, we did life cycle assessments. The fourth stage of a life cycle assessment is the dispose stage, and if it's disposed to landfill, that means it's put in a rubbish dump. It can last quite a long time, depending on its properties. The slide shows you some examples. Target slide. Pick a target. At the end of this presentation, check against the list of bullet points and see how well you have done. If we are to have enough stuff for future generations to use, we need to reduce what we're using now. Why are chemists important for sustainable development? Have a think about it and then click on the answer. Keyword: reuse. If we reuse stuff we've already made, then that helps, one, to cut down the amount that we need to dig out the ground in the first place, and two, the amount of rubbish that we produce as a result of it. Name two products that could be reused as they are. How does reusing products reduce our use of limited resources? One of the ways we can reduce demand is to change the way people think. If every time we go to a shop we get a free plastic bag and we can just throw that away and we don't need to think about it, why on earth would we? The government has decided that they should change the way we behave, and it introduced a 5p charge to encourage people to bring their own bags. Did it work? Well, in the first year, plastic bag use was reduced by 83%. Another thing we can do is recycle. Watch the video on glass recycling, make some notes, think about what's involved. In an earlier lesson, you'll have learned that if we react two different reactants together, we will make a product or products, and the products will have different properties to the reactants. So if we're going to recycle stuff, we have to separate it out carefully. Otherwise, we could end up with properties in the new product that we make, the thing which we've recycled, which we didn't want it to have. Metal recycling example. Iron is extracted from its ore in a blast furnace, but it had to be quarried, extracted from the ground. It's got to be processed in a blast furnace, requiring heating it up, lots of energy, and steel is a man-made alloy with carbon and other elements added depending on what properties you need to give it. We can use steel for many products. Can you think of two? If we recycle scrap steel by adding it to iron from a blast furnace, we reduce the amount of iron that we extract from our limited resources of iron ore and the limited amounts of fossil fuel which we use to power the processes. Questions, write them down, write some answers, check on the next slide, and do your corrections in red. This is a watch the video and answer the question. If you click on the video, you'll get the video. Answer all the questions. The answers are all in the video. So if you can't find an answer, you might need to go back and look again. This is the target slide again. Write down the bullet points, tick or cross them depending on how well you think you've done. Did you need a better target? Would it be helpful if you did some more work on this particular lesson so you improved your understanding? On the last slide, as always, there's some links to videos to help you. Thank you for doing this presentation. Now, go and look at the assessment.